So, this Wayland guy, he funds this project and has his little creation, David, as kind of like his only son, spoiler, or, you know, plot point. Man the trip and make sure, you know, things go over well, and obviously if he's connected to David, you know this guy is also pretty fucking evil. Okay, so with the awakening of everyone, they come close to one of the planets in the constellation, and their quest is to find out who the engineers are. Engineers of humanity. They land, they get their dune buggies out, and they drive up to this really weird landscape, and they have these giant domes that, you know, people, or I mean, I think that some of the scientists debate if they're a natural creation, but no, I don't fucking think a dome is gonna be a natural, like, formation of the Earth, accompanied by big, long stretches of road. So they get in, they drive, and they start doing the tunnel things, and one of our other amazing characters is this geologist guy with this punk-ass hair, and he hates everybody. He's in here for the money. And he unleashes, like, he's also basically your weirdo for this movie. You're gonna tell when he pulls out these two orbs that he calls, like, the dogs, or, I don't know, they're tracking devices, but he calls them the dogs, and he just sort of woofs at them, and everyone's just like, ugh. And he throws them up, and they go out searching. Before around this point, like, people are, or a group is, you know, searching around, and they come close to an inner chamber of sorts. And Shaw's boyfriend, you know, I don't know, as far as our main characters go, like, Shaw and her boyfriend are basically just meh. You don't care about them. You don't really know if they're going to succeed or not. They're just sort of not putting up much of a fight for their relationship or their love. But Shaw's boyfriend is basically goes into the inner chamber saying that, hey, this air is breathable. I'm gonna take my helmet off. And everyone else is like, that's a stupid idea. And he's like, I don't care. And he ends up doing it. And he's like, oh man, this is the most fresh air I've ever breathed in. And everyone just follows suit. Because they're a bunch of sheep. Like, they don't care that there's, you know, being in an alien movie, there's something alien that they can breathe in and just choke or die or turn into a giant bug head thing. Because we're working with sci-fi here. They continue the search, and they activate this hologram video memory thing, because, you know, creatures from another planet have the ability, you know, they have the ability to progress before, or farther than the 2D video format and just make them 3D holograms. And you've got a group of, like Gears of War armored, huge motherfuckers running away from something. And they make it into another chamber, but one of them, like, gets caught underneath the door. They get to that body, and they take his helmet. They thinking that this is the entire alien creature. Like, this might be the engineer. They open, like, David, being perfect as he is, knows languages, and knows alien code, and manages to get that huge door open. And inside is this giant chamber with a bunch of cylinder eggs. And you can see where we're going with here. So, of course, David, being obsessed with this crap, goes over to one of the cylinders and is playing around with the ooze and stuff, and he takes them with him. Or something. Either that or a fetus. There's a giant stone statue head overlooming everyone like the fucking Guardian, and they're just so curious as to why they would want to do this, or why would they make it look like this when they look so different. But it's not long before shit starts to go down and they need to escape. A storm is basically on its way, and everyone tries to run out except for scientists with the glasses and skinhead geologist motherfucker. They end up getting, like, stuck in the dome. They get in their dune buggies and they drive back with their alien head and manage to get back to the ship, but you got one of the flimsy scientists dropping the head as the storm comes, and like a dumbass, she goes out and tries to get it and is almost blown away, and it's this really boring, like, as much thrill as the movie is trying to give us with this storm and the risk of losing this person, I can't care though for this person. I mean, you really know how to kill what should be an exciting scene, but of course Shaw goes after her, and they're both stuck out there now, and Shaw's boyfriend comes in with something. He ties himself up to an anchor to the ship through a side door, and he goes and flings out and grabs them and pulls them back, and they all get the head. Whoop-de-fuck. They didn't lose anything in the process. This was all another pointless scene to try and shock and thrill us. No one died. They get inside and they start examining the head. And they actually do kind of the scientist thing. They're wearing proper gear all of a sudden because they don't know if it's, like, you know, infected or dangerous. So they spray the whole thing down to decontaminate it. And, you know, they can't really get anything off of it. There's no sense of DNA. They're trying to scrape it or whatever. And I think David, again, all of a sudden manages to pull off the fucking, like, it's a helmet. The spoiler, it's a helmet, and inside is this, like, this alien, or this more human, it's just this Amazonian kind of human head, and it's huge. Whoop-de-doo. We know why now there's a stone statue of a human head in there, because, well, duh. The two female scientists here decide that if they plug it up to something, I'm sorry I'm not being really technical here, but I'm not much of a sci-fi or a science fan, so you'll have to bear with me. They hook it up to this thing that will make it semi-conscious enough, and then they can ask it questions, and then they can know who the engineers are. So they end up doing this and giving it, like, kind of this electro treatment, and they're not getting anywhere so far, so they pump up the juice, and it starts to come alive, and as anyone without their body would come alive, being, you know, shocked the fuck out, starts to panic and scream, and the power keeps going up, and they're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And the head blows up. So, another really pointless obstacle, just event, to get this alien head and, you know, try a really brash idea to, hey, let's get it to talk, and blowing it up. Science at its best. Experimentation. There's a difference between experimentation fail and a complete loss of progress. So what can they do? They basically just scoop up the leftovers and try to examine the DNA, and they find out that big shock, they have the same DNA as humans, because they're human-looking and we're ourselves. I mean, they don't have anything extreme about them, they are pretty much just giants, but they have the exact same DNA, exact same.